Let's see, what event were the Behind the Barriers guys at this week? All right, Trek Cyclocross Collective Cup, heading out to Farpoint Station on the Starship Enterprise to investigate an anomaly with... Wait, what? Oh, Trek, right, the bike company in Waterloo, Wisconsin. On Earth. Fine, that still doesn't take away from the fact that those Season 1 uniforms looked a lot like skin suits. Anyway, the race took place around Trek's lovely global headquarters, and for a kinda corporate location, it featured a lot more of the traditional cross obstacles than Starcrossed. Run-ups, off-cambers, and most importantly, loads and loads of corners. There's like one straightaway on the entire course. And also the most deadly obstacle of all for an off-road cyclist. Private property. I wish I were joking. Nice start in broad daylight this time around, and can we just stop it here? Is it just me, or is Cannondale Cyclocross World's Ryan Trebon like half a foot ahead of the line? I realize it's tough to tell, but when the whistle goes a second later, he's practically got his rear wheel over and his foot's still on the ground. Regardless, the real hotshot here was Rafa Focus's Jeremy Powers, who's already fully clipped in and just goes bananas, grabbing like a bike length out of the gate and leading the field onto the grass. But it was Trebon who made the first serious efforts to thin the field out, powering over this gnarly little rise as someone attempted to ensure that the race would not be invited back to Trek's property. Trebon began to open space through the barriers, with the other top contenders in a relaxed group behind, and way back in 11th, Raleigh Clement's Jamie Driscoll, who obviously didn't take my advice from last week's show. Unlike last week, Trebon's motivated riding in tight corners began to open up gaps immediately, with Cannondale Cyclocross World's Tim Johnson and Raleigh Clement's Ben Bairden fighting to keep in touch after the first lap. I love this move from Bairden, dismounting to run the steep line. Doesn't seem to gain him much here, but in the midst of a Cat 3 scrum, that's a call you'll want in the playbook. After not even 2 laps, Trebon's pace setting had gutted the field, leaving just 8 riders in contention. Everyone I've mentioned thus far, along with Token Roadie, Optum Kelly Benefits Jeremy Duran, K-Edge Phelps Danny Summerhill, and U23 national champion Yannick Ekman of Cal Giant, a team that's actually sponsored by Specialized. Anyone else find that awkward? Trebon relinquished the lead to Duran at 7. Oh wait, psych, there he goes again. A follow-up surge from Powers saw Summerhill fall off the pace, and as Johnson took a turn stretching the field, Duran began to dangle. When Trebon continued the 1-2 punches, even Powers looked like he might be in trouble. Ekman decided he'd hit the front at 5 to go, perhaps sensing some weakness in Trebon, as towing 2 teammates isn't the sort of tactical know-how that'll land you in a national champs kit. Still, despite the first signs of life from Powers since the start, and a surge from Burden coming in to 4 to go, the 6-rider bunch remained stubbornly intact. But half a lap later, Powers decided it was time to get serious. I can tell because he starts pushing the course tape around, and because if this isn't a serious face, I do not know what is. Bairden made a spirited chase and eventually got in contact at 2 to go, but Powers countered and was long clear by the time he hit the Honey Stinger run-up. Trebon, meanwhile, had broken free from the chase and had the Raleigh Clement rider in his sights. The leggy Cannondalian wasted no time getting to the front, probably to keep the wily Bairden in check through the corners and to keep the heat on in pursuit of Powers. But there'd be no catching the Rafa Focus rider, whose primary last lap concern was high fives. Trebon too managed a relaxed trip to the line, having opened a small gap on Bairden, making for a podium that looks strikingly similar to last week's. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.